Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says card readers deployed for the general elections have been fully reconfigured. Chairman of the commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, at a press briefing in Abuja, also assured Nigerians of the readiness of the commission to conduct hitch-free polls. In what is the second briefing on the readiness of the commission on the polls, Mahmoud revealed that INEC has completed the audit of sensitive materials in states across the country and has started the deployment of election materials to local governments.
All issues relating to the delivery of materials were identified and virtually addressed. Ballot papers, result sheets, and a host of non-sensitive materials are now in location across the 37 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. 2, our state offices commenced the process of inviting stakeholders to the Central Bank of Nigeria to examine the retrieved materials deployed last week and to witness the batching of materials according to local government areas. This is ongoing at the moment and is expected to be completed. 3, all materials to local governments for batching towards and polling units shall take place on Wednesday, 20th and Thursday, 21st February 2019. 4, all registration area centers, or what we call RACs, are to be activated by 9 a.m. on Friday, 22nd February 2019. 5, personnel and materials should be at the racks by midday on Friday, 22nd February 2019. 6, refresher training for ad hoc personnel should take place at the racks on Friday, 22nd February 2019. 7, personnel and materials must arrive at the polling units latest 7 a.m. on Saturday, 23rd February 2019. And 8, opening of polls nationwide will take place at 8 in the morning on Saturday, 23rd February 2019.
Now, ahead of the election, the federal government says it has partnered with some organizations to cushion the effect of the election postponement on voters. To this end, government says the Independent Petroleum Organization of Nigeria, IPMAN, will be reducing petrol price from 145 naira per litre to 140 naira per litre, beginning from Thursday, 21st of February to Monday, 25th. At a press briefing after the Federal Executive Council meeting, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, revealed that the government has also partnered with the National Union of Road Transport Workers and Airline Operators to reduce cost of traveling during the election period.
The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, with over 50,000 members, and who control about 80% of all petroleum distribution network. His members, over the past couple of days met and said that they were going to help to cushion the effect of the postponement. And they have agreed that on Monday, they announced a reduction of the price of petroleum motor spirit from 145 naira per litre to 140 per litre. This discount, I think, reflects the alignment of IPMAN with government, and the discount is valid between the 21st of February and the 25th of February this year. This is to allow those who want to go back home, to vote.
Meanwhile, the minister's declaration on fuel price reduction from February 21st contradicts that of the Petroleum Marketers Organization, IPMAN, which had earlier announced that fuel price will be reduced to 140 naira per litre from Wednesday, February 20th. Surprisingly, petrol stations in Lagos State have denied receiving any such order as they continue to sell at 145 naira per litre.
If I knew that they are going to sell it for me 140, I would have asked him to go for 140. But I bought it 145 naira per litre. Whether they reduce the fuel price to 75 naira per litre, I will still vote because it's my right, and I can only do it once in 4 years. So I will do it. Whether they reduce it to 75 naira per litre, I will still do it. But with this perspective, well, I don't think there's no much awareness on it.
I would say that's a little drop in the ocean. 140 to 145 is not relevant. Or 145 to 140 is not relevant. For how many days? For the whole lot to 5 years? 5 days. Doesn't do anything to me.
For today, I still got it for the normal price of 145. If I'm permitted to say this, I will say hell no. Hell no. You can't expect me to buy a fuel at expense of me, and at the end of the day, to use that same fuel, travel out to my state because I want to vote for someone I know my vote will not count for. Sorry, I can't do that.
Speaking on whether they will be willing to embark on interstate's journey to vote with a slash in fuel price, here's what motorists have been saying. President Muhammadu Buhari has sworn in 8 new permanent secretaries. The permanent secretaries are sworn in shortly before the start of the Federal Executive Council meeting at the presidential villa. The new officials are representing 8 states, which are Nasarawa, Borno, Lagos, Osun, Imo, Adamawa, Edo, and Delta. They will now fill up the vacancies that existed in the Buhari-led administration. The People's Democratic Party are accusing Nigeria's electoral body INEC and the ruling All Progressives Congress APC of plotting to rig the forthcoming general elections. Chairman of the party, Uche Secondus, says the Independent National Electoral Commission is planning to include dead people in the voters' register to rig the polls in favor of the APC. Also, the presidential aspirant of the party, Atiku Abubakar, has accused the APC training mercenaries to alter the results of the polls. Both men made the allegations while speaking at the National Executive Council meeting of the PDP in Abuja.
We have evidence that over 1 million dead voters will vote in this election. Over 1 million. The idea of those voters is consistent with the nature of this virtual president. Registration of foreigners as voters. There has been a coordinated approach to register foreigners as voters mainly from Niger and Cameroon. One of the vendors of INEC is also a candidate of APC, and we have complained, we have written to INEC to complain that the suppliers of this candidate and PVC is a member of APC.
We have just discovered that the APC have hired many of their operatives and have taken them to China to be trained. And they have been so trained and they are back. And they are equipped with devices that are meant to slow or fasten our card readers. So if you are in the south-south, southeast, and north-central, you are likely to get your card readers to be slowed by those APC operatives. We have seen the machines, we have interviewed some of those who have gone on this training, and we have passed that information to the campaign council to pass on to you. But if you are from the northwest or northeast and southwest, the tendency is that they will use this machine to fast track the readings of your card reader.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyema, has warned members of the diplomatic community against meddling in Nigeria's politics. Oyema made the comment while addressing heads of diplomatic missions in Abuja. He noted that Nigeria is a sovereign entity which must be allowed to run her affairs without interference.
What we have had a cause to be concerned about has also sometimes been just the way the engagement has been communicated. This is, at the end of the day, we're a sovereign country, and the line shouldn't be crossed from exhorting us to and wanting us to succeed, and wanting these to be really democratic, a really democratic process, to dictating to us and really getting into the nitty-gritty of how we run the country, which is exclusively the responsibility of this government. And as friendly as countries may be, I think that people would be extremely surprised if in your countries you're holding elections and we were telling you how to run your government and so forth. Most importantly, Mr. President and all Nigerians absolutely demand that on Saturday elections should be held. And we cannot accept, and we will not accept, any excuses or any other reason. They have to be held on Saturday, and nothing less will be acceptable to government, and indeed I'm sure to Nigerians.
With just 3 days left to rescheduled presidential election, candidate of the National Interest Party NIP, Eunice Atuejide, has withdrawn from the race. Atuejide is the second female aspirant to step down in the contest. Former Minister of Education, Obi Ezekwesili, had earlier withdrawn from the race, citing a change in interest. In a statement released on Wednesday, Atuejide says she's withdrawing because her race for the presidency was programmed to end on February 16. She has now declared her support for the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and his deputy, Peter Obi. This leaves just 3 women on the presidential ballot scheduled for 23rd February 2019. The Chief of Army Staff, General Tukur Buratai, says there will be no military escorts for politicians during the general elections. Buratai has also directed commanders to ensure the restriction of movement within their command and also carry out a stop and search operation. The Army Chief stated this at a meeting with principal officers and commanders of the Nigerian Army. He said the Army is taking a proactive approach to stop election crimes such as ballot box snatching and violence. He further directed commanders to deal decisively with anyone caught doing anything that will be inimical to the success of the election. The Nigerian Air Force says it has neutralized some Boko Haram fighters in Aboko, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. In a statement, Air Force spokesperson Air Commodore Ibikunle Darmola said the force also destroyed some camps belonging to the terrorists. Darmola revealed that the operation was carried out by troops of 82 Brigade of the Nigerian Army and with the assistance of Air Force Intelligence Surveillance and Reconnaissance Team. Giving more details on the operation, Darmola said a surveillance aircraft spotted the group of insurgents within the village and deployed the Alpha jet to engage their camp with rocket fire. The force has now promised to sustain efforts to completely destroy all remnants of the terrorists in the northeast. Members of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, also known as Shiite, have staged a protest around the Federal Secretariat in Abuja. The rally terminated at the entrance of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where they demanded the release of their leader, El-Zakzaky. Members of the IMN also denied reports that they have endorsed the re-election bid of President Muhammadu Buhari for the 2019 general elections scheduled to hold on February 23rd.
Diplomats are having meeting here, and we know that the international electoral observers were already in town waiting for the postponed dates of the forthcoming 2019 general election. And there are a lot of lies fabricated by this government of Muhammadu Buhari that the movement is planning a violent protest to disrupt 2019 general election. And these people are here. Most of them have been fed with fake information about the killing of innocent citizens in Nigeria, especially in Zaria, by the government, because they only get the information from the authorities. Okay, so that is why on seeing them, we decided to stay and let them know what is actually happening, and that there were rumors that they have been fabricating. There are some group of people that were being sponsored by this government. And I will say it categorically that the National Security Advisor in person of Mohammed Babagana Mungunu gave some people money to go to media outlet and says they are Shiite, they have endorsed Muhammadu Buhari. They says the Shia in Nigeria are 10 million and they were divided into two. 5 million belong to Sheikh Zezeki and 5 million belong to such group that he sponsored. It's a blatant lie. Those people that the NSA sponsored to go and say they have endorsed Muhammadu Buhari, they are not even up to 200 in the whole nation. If you say Shia, you say Shiism, you said movement, it is El-Zakzaki that is the leader of this movement. It's him we know, and El-Zakzaki has never endorsed anybody, any candidate as presidential candidate in Nigeria.
The Court of Appeals sitting in Abuja has adjourned hearing on appeals challenging the trial of Justice Walter Onowen at the Code of Conduct Tribunal. The appeals were filed by the prosecution and defense counsels. At the resumed hearing of the case, prosecution counsel Aliyu Umar prayed for more time to amend his brief. His request was, however, challenged by the lead counsel to Onowen, Chris Uche, who asked the court to refuse the application. In response, a three-man panel of the appellate court, led by Justice Dati Yahaya, granted the adjournment, saying it will be the last time any delayed tactics intended to stall proceedings will be entertained. The case has now been adjourned to February 27 on the request of the prosecution counsel to enable him to amend his brief. The family of abducted Dapchi schoolgirl Leah Sharibu has again called on the federal government to secure the release of their daughter. The renewed calls for her release comes a year after Leah was kidnapped by a faction of the Boko Haram sect, Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP. The family made the call during a prayer session held in Leah's remembrance. Speaking at the event, Leah's mother, Rebecca Sharibu, lamented that since the abduction, she has not known peace. Leah is one of the over 100 schoolgirls abducted by the insurgents in February 2018 from the government girls' secondary school in Dapchi, Yobe State. Weeks after the abduction, the other girls were released, while Leah was kept in captivity by the terrorists for reportedly refusing to renounce Christianity. You're still watching news now on TV360 Nigeria. We'll return with business news after this.
It's another important time in our country's history
when we head to the polls to decide our future.
You and I have the power to choose our leaders, but we can only do this when we exercise our right to vote. Every single vote matters, and I mean yours.
Don't sell your power.
Say no to vote buying. Say no to electoral violence. This message was brought to you by
TV360 Nigeria.
When last you vote?
Oh yeah. When last you vote for the person where you get for mind say go sabi work?
Don't be person will find you something, no.
Okay now, you register to vote?
So you don't collect your PVC?
I beg. Make we not be like Esau, we're selling bet right though.
Make we shine our eyes this election period. Make we stamp only people we will know say then get better mind for Nigeria. This message.
That's TV360 Nigeria.
You're welcome back, and to talk business with us, we have Fidelia Aguncha. Hello, Fidelia.
Hi, Aneta.
So Nigeria is ready to go to the polls on Saturday, but it seems that a majority of the country, or most of the country, have not recovered from the effects of the postponement which occurred on Saturday morning. Please tell us more about that.
Well, that's true, Aneta. The postponement of the presidential and National Assembly elections have continued to draw negative reactions from the business world. A number of businesses were halted as a result of expected election activities on that day. Well, Adesho Aldushoga has been finding out the effect on the Nigerian economy.
Nigeria arguably experienced an economic shutdown on February 16, 2019. On this day, the country was brought to a standstill as residents, businesses, and even borders halted all activities in anticipation for the presidential and National Assembly elections. They, however, dealt a heavy blow when the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) announced the postponement of the polls. Financial experts who have been reacting since the announcement say the country lost so much within the 24 hours of business shutdown.
By our own estimation, if you take into account the effects on the economy shortly before the date that the election was supposed to take place, and on the very day that the election was supposed to take place, our estimation is that the economy has lost an estimated $1.5 billion US. So it's quite horrendous. Investors suffered losses, individuals suffered losses, SMEs, large enterprises, the political parties, and even the government. So it was a huge cost to virtually everybody across sectors and across the length and breadth of this country.
Over the years, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has continued to inject more money into the foreign exchange market to strengthen the value of the naira in the market. But unfortunately, the foreign reserves fell on February 14, 2 days before the initial date for the election, and many have continued to attribute the election as a factor. But analysts speak otherwise.
Generally, the election has had some macroeconomic level effects even before the postponement. Because what we have found is that generally during periods of elections, there are issues with confidence, there are issues with regard to uncertainty in the economy, and all these things have a way of slowing down economic activities. It has a way of impacting negatively on investors' confidence. So generally, that has been the context in which investors behave. So that is why most times when you are in election season, there is always a downturn in the level of economic activities. The drop in foreign reserves is not particularly significant. It's actually less than 1%. So it's not something, at least for now, that you can really strongly attribute to the postponement of the election. It's part of the general context of impact that the election season brings to bear on the economy.
With the Nigerian Stock Exchange losing a sum of $196 billion due to the election postponement, analysts believe investors lost confidence and are afraid of taking the risk during this period.
If at the end of the day we're able to have an election that is credible, that is fair, I'm sure that confidence will begin to return, both to the larger economy and even to the stock market. So if we're able to get it right and you have a restoration of confidence, then it will be possible for the markets and the economy itself to begin to recover. So what we are hoping for is that at the end of the day we have an outcome that is credible, that inspires confidence. Because investment is about expectations, it's about confidence. If we're able to come up with an outcome that inspires confidence, then the economy will surely will have a rebound, whether in the capital market, stock market, or in the larger economy.
The Independent National Electoral Commission have since taken blame for the sudden postponement and short notice. But as it stands, analysts believe the probability of recovering the number of losses recorded is very slim. Adeshawa Odushoga, TV360, Nigeria.
Activities on the stock market. Don't go away. Well, the value of the Nigeria Stock Exchange has continued its uptrend after recovering from Monday's loss. Well, this time the market is appreciating by over 78 billion naira thanks to a 0.64% rise in key market indicators, as we can see right here, and this pushed the all-share index to 32,614 basis points, while the market capitalization is standing at 12.162 trillion naira. Now on the gainers chart is Nigeria's borrowers recovering from losses seen on Tuesday, as we can see right here. Now this increase in share price can be attributed to the good news that the company will be paying over 14 billion naira in dividend to shareholders. I think this actually encouraged investors to stake their money on this equity. It was also a good day for Mobile, UACN and Dangote Flour. Well, on the flip side, it was however a bad trading day for Nestle, which is dropping by 20 naira. As we can see right here, and that's after leading the gainers chart yesterday. And it was not a bad day for Unilever, GlaxoSmithKline and Custodian PLC, as their share price dropped by 1.38%, 3.75% and 6.87%. Well, in summary, the value of shares traded came in at 5.6 billion naira, while over 400 million shares were transacted in 4,697 deals. And on the global scale, we can see that it was all green for them. FTSE is appreciating by 0.69%, and this is despite the chaos in the Parliament in the UK. More ministers keep resigning over the Brexit deal, and the Dow is still inching up as it did yesterday, this time by 0.11%. Nikkei, on the other hand, saw a 0.60% rise in its value. Well, that's it all from the world of business. It's back to Annetta.
Thank you for that update, Fidelia. It's indeed a bull's market all over the world. I'm talking the FTSE, Dow Jones and the Nikkei in Japan. And good to see that the Nigerian Stock Exchange was not left out after that rebound, recovering from its losses in the past few days.
Yes, that's very correct.
So we'll take a break now, and when we return, it will be news on the global scene. Do stay with us.
It's another important time in our country's history,
when we head to the polls to decide our future.
You and I have the power to choose our leaders,
but we can only do this when we exercise our right to vote.
Every single vote matters, and I mean yours.
Don't sell your power.
Say no to vote buying.
Say no to electoral violence. This message was brought to you by
TV360 Nigeria.
Party has endorsed President Yoweri Museveni as its candidates for the 2021 elections. This means the 74-year-old leader, who came into power in 1986, will be running for a sixth term. Museveni had in 2017 signed a bill that scraps the presidential age limit of 75, making a sixth-term bid possible. Meanwhile, Uganda's Supreme Court began hearing a petition last month to challenge this decision. And in sports, Nigeria's beach soccer national team assistant coach Chukwuma Agbo is dead. Agbo was reported to have died on Wednesday morning after a brief illness. The death of the former Rangers of Enugu coach was confirmed by the Nigerian Football Federation on their official Twitter handle. The NFF described Agbo's death as another painful loss. Agbo was an assistant coach with Rangers when they won the Nigeria Professional Football League title in 2016 and was said to have battled a liver-related disease in the past month before his death. And it's a wrap here on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Thanks for watching. Do follow us on all social media pages. And of course, log on to our website at www.tv360nigeria.com for more. Bye for now.